Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Gold Terra's channel, reestablishing Yellowknife as one of the premier gold mining districts in Canada, forefronting this whole industry during this commodities boom. CEO Gerald Panneton, welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
It's such a pleasure to have you, man. So we got a lot to dive into. We're going to framework these videos by kind of getting to know your history a little bit. We're going to talk about the company itself, and then we're going to dive down into the balance sheet, cap structure, and spending. But to roll back a little bit, I mean, with 35 years of experience in the industry, what was that aha moment and all that experience leading up to Gold Terra?
There's plenty of hot moments that you can derive from many years of experience, because I think I was a very fortunate person to, for example, spend 12 years at Barrick, build 2 gold mines in Tanzania. And after that, when I left Barrick in early 2006, I had the fortunate opportunity to develop a project which I founded, with the helps of the junior that I basically purchased the project from. And that was the lead of Detour Gold. So Detour Gold is where a lot of people made money in Canada and around the world. And I brought the company from an IPO, 40 million share, 350, $140 million, 100% of a shut down mine that I believe there was more gold. And I took the project from just north of 1 million ounces to more than 20 million ounces that became 16 in reserve. And the mine today is the largest gold mine in Canada, 600,000 ounces of gold produced, since inception. I bought 5 kilos from that first pour 9 years ago. It's been a while. This is probably the biggest, largest, financial success of my career, because it's purely just financial, but experience-wise, it was my third mine. I did it from A to Z and created a company from 100 million that was eventually sold for 5 billion to Kirkland Lake, which now merged with Agnico Eagle. So yes, the experience of building mine is definitely in my pocket. A to Z, you do it 3 times, you know exactly where you're going to do the next one. And at the same time, now I'm moving into Gold Terra. I was in a couple of stints in between Detour and Gold Terra. I started Gold Terra 2 years ago, and the main aspect and the main things that happened to me visiting Gold Terra was the potential. You create value with the drill bit. You create value because there's a chance to find more gold. And Gold Terra in Yellowknife, which is a high-grade camp, is also something I want to do more than a low-grade deposit like Detour Lake, is focus on high grade. High grade requires less capital to invest for. The margin is better. For example, our plan is to have a mine that will be 10 grams. And if we have a mine at 10 grams, it's worth $600 US an ounce per ton. Yeah. And the cost of operating in Canada is about $200 US. So, there's a lot of big margins. So I prefer smaller volume, bigger margin, more profitable, and less intensive on the capital investment, which, Detour cost $1.5 billion 10 years ago. Yeah. Today, probably will cost $2.5 billion.
So it really sounds like the whole gold industry runs through your blood. I mean, you've been involved with some of the biggest heavy-hitting names in the gold industry here. Do you mind talking really briefly about the team that's fronting this with you? You got Joseph Campbell, Mark Brown, David Suda, kind of all these experienced members on your board here. Can you just give us some insights on them as well?
I think if I was to focus on a few people, Mark is an established CFO, a very good accounting person, and he's kind of like a third-party CFO. He's not a full-time CFO with us, but it's a very good arrangement for a company of our size, because our burn rate for the CFO and the accounting is like $10,000 a month. So a very good deal for a junior company of our size, where you want to keep the money to put in the ground. You don't want to put it elsewhere. Joe Campbell was the founder of the company. Joe is our COO. He was the president, CEO. He was the founder. He was the chairman for a while. And I think what's very important about Joe is he had a vision back to revive the Yellowknife camp that shut down in early 2000, 20 years ago. And his passion for geology, his passion to find gold is there, because they found numerous showing. One of them, we're currently drilling it now. But he was unable to get his hands on the Campbell shear south of the Con mine. He tried a couple of times, and that's where I came into the picture with my history with big company, with putting 3 mines in production. And one of the unsung hero of our company is a board member, Mr. Louis Dion. Louis Dion has a long history. He was the Camflo mine manager when Peter Monk bought Camflo mine to become Barrick Gold. We're talking like almost 40 years ago.
Yeah.
But Louis is one of those astute, very smart mining engineer who just doesn't do mining, but he does also the economic of the deposit. He knows the value of a ton. He knows the value of going forward. And I've been working with Louis now for 30 years. And he is the guy that you want to have on your team to help you make the right decision early on, not necessarily later on when it's not time to reverse, right?
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I mean, he was senior VP at Barrick for many years. He was the right arm of Bob Smith. I have tons of time for him. And we work very well. We did Detour Gold together. We did Newcastle Gold together. And again, he's joined me on Gold Terra because his experience on underground mining is very valuable.
Yeah.
So our team is relatively well done. And of course, other members of the board, Elen Sivinovich, legal lawyers, was corporate lawyers outside of Detour for 10 years. Laurie Gabouri, a good investor relation experience. Patsy from Montreal, which is also a good CFA. So we have an established management team and board members or directors of the company that understand mining and have done it before. Plus, we are hired locally. All of our workforce is in Yellowknife. So for example, the cost of drilling since I joined went from $300 per meters Canadian down to 200.
That's pretty good. Love it.
It's about experience, common sense, knowing what to do. People don't realize that when we started 40 years ago in our geological career, we used to have one geologist, one tech for 3 rigs. Today, it's like you have to have like 3 or 4 of them per rig. And so we have to steer the guys in a direction of economic sense and not spending money for nothing.
Yeah, it's really nice to see that these are people that you've had experience with in the past. All of these guys seem to have lifeblood throwing through them with the gold industry. So that's great to hear from that front. Now, talking about your Yellowknife project here, just for newer investors, give us a brief introduction to exactly these land packages and what you guys are doing there.
Well, the biggest thing that attracted me at Yellowknife is the same thing that attracted me at Detour Lake 16 years ago. The potential, the underexplored potential of a gold camp. You could do the same thing in Timmins or in Val-d'Or in different places, but what Yellowknife brings to us is that we have a property that is 800 square kilometers that covers 70 kilometers of the Campbell Shear. But there was only one little piece missing, the extension of the Campbell Shear south of the Con Mine. And it took me 2 years to negotiate with Newmont. You know, the small little $40 million company trying to negotiate with a $60 billion company, Newmont, it sometimes can be a bit challenging because I'm not necessarily their first priority. You know, they're producing 6 million ounces a year, you know, and they bought this property 14 years ago, and it's in full reclamation. By the end of the year, it will be completely reclaimed. So what can you do for us, Gerald? What's at the end of the day for us? And are we taking a risk? Do you have the experience to take on the liability one day? And I said, listen, if I find 2-3 million ounces or more south of the Con Mine on the Campbell Shear, which generated 14 million ounces already, then you do have the ticket to take the liability and then move on and develop a new mine in the Yellowknife camp. Plus, we have multiple deposits north of town, which are from reach. You know, the beauty about Yellowknife is that everybody goes home at night. We don't pay for a camp. We don't pay for rotation. We don't pay for people to come in, come out. It's well established in a 20,000 people town that would like to see more mine coming up.
Yeah. On that note, Gerald, when we come back, we're going to fully break down these projects, look at your drill program and a lot more, but I appreciate your time today. Thanks so much for coming out.
It's my pleasure.
And it's our pleasure as well. On that note, folks, I'm going to pass the question off to you. Let us know what you think in that comment section below. Consider subscribing because as this news comes down the wire, we're going to continue to update here. But stay cool, stay awesome. And as always, I look forward to catching you in the next one.